Good morning, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Miss Fin Show. I am your host, Miss Fins. Thank you so much for coming through. You already know what I'm going to say. You know what I'm going to ask. Go ahead and hit that like button for us. Hit the like button for us, guys. We have a great show for you today. So go ahead and hit the like button. Let everybody else know we are live. Also, guys, as you can see from the title, I feel like it's kind of obvious. We got a special guest in the back that we're going to be bringing on. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep it clean. Think of PBS Kids. You know, you can debate. We love debating here, but debate the opinion. Be kind to the person, guys. Also, too, you can find Miss Fins Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern, every Monday through Friday over here on YouTubes and such, as well as become a member, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you can support the channel by becoming a member, and thank you so much for all of our channel members. Man, you guys really do keep the light on, and really appreciate the support that you guys give us. Man, thank you so much. It really is an honor to have all of you guys as members. But ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to become a member if you can't. I absolutely understand. I'm reasonable. I understand what's going on here in the economy and stuff, but if you're able to, I really would appreciate some support that way by becoming a member. We also have super chat, super thanks, super stickers, as well as Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, so all that good stuff. And like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, we win together, we lose together. Dolphins for life. Thank you very much. Let's go. Let's go. I'm so excited about today. I just couldn't even believe it. Like, anyways, we're gonna get through. Thank you so much. Good morning to everybody in the chat. Everybody's watching on Twitter and Twitch. Appreciate you guys. But listen, we have one of our current players who literally just dropped off. Our current player to practice. Like, guys, you can't get more like you know, in depth with a team than a player's mom. You know what I mean? It's like sacred. And right now, we got one of our awesomest players, man. I love him since the minute that we got him here. You already know who that is, and if you don't, literally read right here the subject. But we have Nik Needham's mom, Shannon Needham. So help me welcome her. Thank you so
You.
much for coming through. How are you doing?
Da, da, da. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for having me. Oh my gosh, I don't have any coffee in me right yet now, so bear with me. But I'm happy to be here. So thanks so much.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm so excited to talk to you because Nik Needham, he's always been such a great player. I think in the team, and a great locker room guy. You know, you always see that in the interviews, and that's what you want from a teammate. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And my gosh, it's I have questions, so we're gonna get through the questions again.
Do
I'm gonna be respectful of your time because I know it's a lot going on. Obviously, we're in the playoffs. Woo woo! So we,
Yes.
I'm
Right.
sure we got a lot to go through. But talk to me really quickly. I think the most fundamental question is what got him, Nik Needham, into football? Like, what really, was it as a kid? Like, what got him as a
Oh my
football?
goodness. Well, thanks for asking. That's the best question because this is where it all starts. Nick, I I raised Nick as a single mom. His dad definitely in the picture, definitely went through this journey with us, and he's very close to his dad. Um, Nick started off as a basketball player when he was real little. Basketball was his thing. Yep, he was a hooper and he was awesome. But when really early on, at about age 4, I think it was about 4, he might have been even younger than that. I think it was 4. He loved playing baseball with this wiffle ball bat, and just whacking the ball all the time. So that was something that he and I did. And I asked him, he hadn't even touched a football at this point. And I asked him, just one day we were playing in the backyard, and I said, Nick, so what do you want to be when you grow up? He did not hesitate. And he looked at me and he said, Mom, I'm going to play in the NFL. And this was at age 4. And I said, what? Wow, that's a tall order. Like that's a tough one. So it's going to be a lot of work. That's a lot of work. He said, I know. And I said, okay, well, here we go. So years went on. He was still playing basketball. He hadn't really gotten into football except for watching NFL games. I'm sure he watched a lot with his dad. His favorite team back then was the Broncos. And like the mom that I am, I went all over the country looking for a Broncos sticker out of a vending machine that we had in Long Beach that I couldn't, I spent more and more quarters. I kept getting the Raiders and I kept getting the 49ers, but I couldn't get that Broncos sticker, but finally got it. But that was his team. But then he just started on with Pop Warner at age 8. He excelled since the day he got on the field. And oddly, he played running back and wide receiver all through Pop Warner um, until his later years. In Pop Warner, he was more of a kind of going both ways guy. He played defensive back and wide receiver. And then high school played both ways and then honed in on his DB skills going forward into college and then on. So, but he has quite an amazing story. I don't know if you knew this, but he went to 3 different high schools. Um,
What?
yeah, 3 different high schools. So
Wow.
he never really had any good film for scouts to see for colleges. So, long story short, he got one offer to go for college, and that was at University of Texas, El Paso, because it wasn't until his senior year of high school that he actually had any really solid varsity film. And all the scouts and the media people were like, where the hell did this kid come from? Like, where did he come from? Because he had just been bouncing to schools. So he ended up taking the offer to UTEP and wasn't really fond of, going out to El Paso, but he made the best of it. And another thing that a lot of people don't understand, I'm obviously on Twitter a lot, and I observe. I try not to interject my true feelings that much on there, but if my mind could speak and everybody could really hear what I'm saying, it wouldn't be pretty. But I'm sitting in the background watching all these comments about, if we lose a game, if the Dolphins lose a game, and people go so hard on the players and the coaches and all this stuff. Okay, I get the passion. Everybody's passionate about their team. I think that's wonderful. But you have to understand, Nik and I came from his last 2 years of college. They went 0-12 and 1-11. And I'm telling you this, those last 2 years, I cheered and I screamed louder than in fact, I busted 2 of my vocal cords are damaged because of it. I screamed so loud and cheered for him those last 2 years. 0-12, 1-11. So
Wow.
definitely, it's a good thing to cheer when they're down, not just when they're up. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, I'll tell you this, we have a very, and I feel like every sport, every fan base can say this, but we in particular, since we're in our own world, we have a very, very passionate
Oh,
fan
yeah.
base. It's kind of like the stock market, the team does good, yay, and the team does bad, and
Yeah.
like, grr. So,
No, and I
trust
and
me.
I totally get that. But as a mom of a player, and I've mentioned this, I think I even put a post out, it was yesterday or the day before, because I couldn't bite my tongue any longer. I just want to make sure everybody knows that the players are reading these tweets. The
No, they're
players are,
not.
I'm telling you, they are. Did you see Tyreek Hill has been tweeting and basically mocking the Twitter fandom because he reads the tweets. They all read the tweets. And when their name gets mentioned, and I can understand, oh, the Dolphins had a bad game. That's one thing. You can say that. Everybody can say that. Yeah, we had a bad game. We lost. We could have done a lot better. But when it gets super personal into the player and people start calling them trash or garbage or this or that, as much as the players don't want to listen to that stuff, they're reading it and it can seep into their subconscious and um,
Like,
it can affect their playing. And quite honestly, I'm watching tweets from Tyreek Hill on the daily that are pretty much exposing what's going on here. So just word to the wise, just know that these guys do read the tweets. And, if we're wanting to win this season, now is not the time to be bashing players online because they're reading it and we want their confidence level to be up here, not wishy-washy down here going, start questioning themselves, like, oh, am I trash? Am I a bad player? That's no bueno. So anyway,
Ladies
everybody
and
has,
gentlemen, public service announcement
yeah,
here. Like,
PSA big time. But I'm also one of a big believer in free speech, which is why I'm constantly being suspended on Twitter because I have quite a strong opinions on worldly events. But I keep my mouth pretty much shut when it comes to Dolphins. But when it comes to worldly things, I'm pretty vocal, and that's why I get suspended about every other day. And it's all good. But I respect everybody's free speech.
well, I
So
appreciate that. Oh man, that was such a great story because you kind of answered a couple of the other questions I had. I was like, yes,
yeah,
that was awesome. But it's really cool to see where that passion comes from because I have like one of my younger brothers. He actually is playing football in college right now. And I'm telling you, it's like when he came out of the womb with a little football because since the
um,
minute he was like two, he'd always carry that around and play football. So it was awesome seeing,
yeah,
the girls and when they're so tiny and the helmets are bigger than their bodies, and you're like, oh my
yes,
god, they're so cute. Like
yeah,
it's
adorable.
to see that progression as they get to like, middle school, high school, all that stuff. So and when you were talking about Nick, it reminded me of seeing my brother go through that process. So
Right.
that's pretty awesome.
Well,
So
I'll tell you this too, since you just mentioned that.
mhm.
Nick had not touched a football, but one of his first Halloween costumes, he wore his dad's New Mexico State uniform and was a football player. So that he was. I just remembered that. That was one of, because when you talked about their scrawny little bodies and the big pads and stuff,
Mhm.
that's what he looked like. He had these tiny little legs and stuff. But anyway, it was
That's
cute.
awesome. And what does his dad do? Because I know we were talking offline, so
Yeah.
I know his dad
Yeah.
is really into football.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
what does he
Yeah.
do?
His dad, Steve Calhoun, owns a company called Armed and Dangerous Football, and it's a very successful football program. They used to call him the quarterback guru because he trains quarterbacks and wide receivers all over the world. Really, some of his players like Keenan Allen from the Chargers. He's
Yeah.
been his personal coach since Keenan was a little kid, and like Jordan Love, he's his coach for the Packers, and so in doing all of that and being so involved, Nick, since a very early age, has been training with NFL players in their off seasons. First it started off as shagging balls for his dad, as a little kid, but then running routes. And now it's a regular thing when on the off season for the last 5, 6 years, that these guys all get together at a park in San Clemente, and that's where we're from. And you see all these Lamborghinis and stuff pull up. Ours is a Dodge Challenger, but they're all driving up, and they have these workouts, and it's a bunch of wide receivers and DBs that come out, and it's pretty cool. So he's had incredible training from the get go from his dad.
So it's in the DNA, is what you're saying.
Yes. Oh, he gets all his athletic ability from me.
Oh, well, see, you see
Make
what I
no
mean?
mistake.
I love it. Were you ever a player? Did you ever play any sports
Oh my
in high
gosh.
school or anything like that?
I didn't play football. I was an athlete. I grew up, I started skiing, really hardcore snow skiing when I was 4 years old, and then skied all my life. And then I played softball, I played basketball. But my main sports, I played tennis, and I was a swimmer in high school. So did all these things, but I beat up my body. I have two artificial knees, and my body's falling apart
So you're
now. But
bionic now.
yeah, I basically, and now of course I broke my leg about a month ago, so that's not been fun. But yeah, I was an athlete, but he definitely gets all the football stuff from his dad.
That's beautiful. Yeah, no, I played multiple sports. I did play flag football. And a lot of
Awesome.
people think that girls don't tackle. Yes, they do.
Yeah, they do.
Unfortunately, they absolutely tackle and take off your legs, and
Yeah.
it's a lot. But yes, that's definitely one of the sports I got to do
Oh, very cool.
as well. So yeah, it was fun. So I always love sports too. But man, so walk to me as far as when he's finally in college. He got his at UTEP. He finally got his opportunity. I mean, he was extremely successful over there. I mean,
Yeah.
recorded 213 tackles. I mean, that's pretty good. But as far as him and the draft, like, how was he? Was he
Oh,
nervous? Like,
oh my God. The draft was so that week I will never forget, ever, ever, ever. That was an experience that just I just I kind of want to forget it, but I don't want to forget it. Um, First of all, leading up to the draft that week before, he got invited out by the NFLPA to come out for the first all the draft activities in Nashville, and he invited me, and we went out there and we had a blast. And then he obviously wasn't. They knew he wasn't going to go first or second round or even third round possibly. So we went back home. But there were all these teams that had been contacting him, and that he actually had workouts with, one on personal workouts with several of the teams that flew him out, that were saying, okay, dude, we got you third or fourth round. So here we are sitting. We went to my parents' house because they've got the bigger place that we could all view it, watching the draft on TV, and he's got his cell phone, and my heart was just thumping the whole time. But as each round went by, they weren't picking him. And then they'd send him a text message, dude, we had to pick such and such, but we got you next. So it went fourth round, then fifth round, then sixth round. And then, so as it got more and more, I was literally getting sick to my stomach. And he was just so quiet. He sat there holding his phone. And here's the part that made me the most nervous. He had like one bar of battery cell on his cell phone and was refusing to charge it. And I said, Nick, let's plug in your phone. He's like, no, because he was pissed. He was just, he didn't want to have anything to do with anybody at that moment. And he just sat there and he's like, no, I'm not charging it. And I said, oh, please charge your phone. You might get the call. You might get the call. Well, we're watching the TV, and of course they call Mr. Irrelevant, and who we thought actually was going to be Nick, because I think it was the Titans. I can say that the Titans actually were kind of grooming him and saying, "We got you next." Nope, they picked somebody else, and my heart just sunk, and I could feel his. I was sitting right next to him on the couch, and I had my arm over his back, and his head just went down, and I could tell he was deflated. Um, and but I'd say like within a minute, his phone just all of a sudden all these calls started coming in, and I watched him, and it was like, I'm not going to mention the team's name because that's bad, but such and such team, and he was literally swiping the phone saying "F you, F you."
okay, I'm gonna have to get this info afterwards, just one on one.
Yes, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. But F you, F you. And I'm sitting there going, don't you want to take that call? Like, pick up the phone. But he didn't. And he did that to about 7 different teams. F you, F you. Because he was just pissed. They deceived him. He felt so deceived and so lied to. It was horrendous. But I guess that's how it goes. It's the draft. It's kind of a up in the air thing. When one team picks your pick, you got to pick somebody else. It's just it changes up. I always tell everybody it's a really dynamic board, so it's a living board, and I understood that. But all of a sudden, I did see on his phone. I think it said Dolphins DB coach or Dolphins something, and he looked at me and he said, "I got to take this call." And he got up and walked out of the room, and everyone in my family, we were all quiet. And my dad looked at me and he's like, "What's happening? What's happening?" I said, "I don't know, but let's just listen in." And I could hear him saying very politely on the phone, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir." And he came back in the room and he said, "I'm going to Miami." And that's when all the popping the champagne and screaming. And we were very excited. His agent at that time, he's got a new agent, but had told him prior to going into all of this, if we get down to the point where you're a free agent, the Dolphins is where you want to go. He said
Really?
yeah, he told him the Dolphins is where you want to go. He said, not only will you get a chance to make the team, you'll make the team. He goes, but you'll also play. So let's go that route. And sure enough, it worked out. Even though he got cut, I don't know
Yeah,
if you know the story.
initially.
At the end of this, initially got cut and back on the practice squad. It still worked out, and Nick has never stopped working his ass off. Like even to this day, when I got home here last night, he was watching film after a totally long day. This kid never stops trying to improve his craft, down to the little micro movements, that he sees on film. So he studies nonstop. He works out nonstop. He trains. He's still getting a little rehab for his ankle, but he feels great. He's ready to go into the game this weekend. It's going to be exciting. He's not happy about the cold weather, but he's prepared for that too.
That's good, man. That's such a great insight because I mean, knock on wood, my family expects to go through that as well with my
Yeah.
brother, and it's kind of cool to kind of get those little details of setting the right expectations and things like that,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
that's awesome. So thank you for sharing that because
Of
it
course.
gives you an inside track into what families are going through and what players
Yes.
are going through because we only see what they put out there,
Right.
the perfect picture and but you don't really know what's going on and that's really great. So thank you for sharing that.
Of course. Yeah. And if you're going that route soon, I would, with your family member, I'd be more than happy to give you more details on it, but not on it.
Good because I am definitely gonna be like
Yes, you got
Mrs.
it.
Nina. So thank you. So let's go this because I mean he's been so far obviously being picked up by Miami, initially being cut, being brought to the practice squad. He's been playing pretty much consistently for us until obviously he got that torn Achilles, which was awful. My God, awful.
Horrible.
I remember that. Um. How did it go with him and his mindset? Because when you're an athlete and you get injured, and I've had multiple injuries, why did it go into his mindset of man, I'm out, like for the season, like this is it in that
Yeah.
moment? How did that moment go for you guys?
You know what? It was really, really tough. And it couldn't have happened at a worse time. I don't know if you know my story, but I went through a little issue, not a little one, but it was a big issue, I had an addiction problem to opioid pain medication. And without going into detail, I had had some pretty major surgeries and I got addicted to pain meds and ended up in a detox program, in the exact week that he tore his Achilles.
Oh,
So it was that week. And so it was kind of a really tragic time for our whole family and for both of us. And I felt horrible because I couldn't be there for him. I wasn't there. I didn't even go out there for the surgery. So I felt like a complete loser of a mom. But we got through it. And he, Nick is such a strong minded young man. It was devastating that he tore his Achilles because he was on such a great momentum and he was doing really well. But throughout our lifetime, both of us, we've both been hit with such major adversity situations, in life. We hear Mike McDaniel talk about it, and I know people are like, "Why does he keep saying that about adversity?" He gets it too. I can
hmm
honestly say that's something that when people get it, they get it. Um, and when you go through those tragic moments, it really does make you stronger. And so although disappointment set in and being on the sideline watching the guys play, definitely disappointed, but he never gave up. And he always knew, okay, it's a setback, but I'm going to have a big comeback. And that's how we both have lived our lives, because I've had some really horrible things happen to me. I had a couple of brain surgeries that he had to live through, as a kid and watch me very ill. But we got through that. So each time we've gone through these really tough situations, we both kind of look at each other like it's going to be okay. We got this. And we always say that we got this. Let's just keep going, keep going. So that's having a mindset like that. I think helped him. And he just got to be patient, which he was, but he was also very diligent, about his rehab program, did everything that they said. That was his main focus then, was not, obviously football, that being on the field was getting well. So he did everything and continues to do everything to strengthen his ankle and make sure that his comeback is going to be big, even though he's not really playing much right now. And we can talk about that too if you want. But
Oh,
um,
we
you're like,
will,
oh, we're
but
going to talk about that.
yeah.
Yeah. But I even see this as kind of a blessing. Like it's not kind of a blessing. It really is. You know, each day he just gets stronger and stronger. So it may not be the way that we want it to be, but it's, you know, it's God's plan.
God only
So,
knows perfect timing. That's all I can say.
absolutely. Absolutely. So that's where we are with that. And he's got a really great mindset, even though he's on the sideline now and ready to go. He just keeps in his head, like, you know, I'm just going to keep going, whether it's here or somewhere else, to be honest with you. He wants to play. Let's just put it that way. He wants to
Oh,
play.
good, because we're gonna talk about that too. But I want to take this journey, through the segments here with everybody. So I'm glad to hear that he worked really hard, and dealing with those adversities. In my opinion, it makes a player not just hungrier, but more grateful for the opportunity,
Oh,
because
yeah.
not everybody gets the opportunity to be
Right.
able to play, even if it's practice squad,
For sure.
so I like that you guys have had that story together, and I've
Yeah.
been able to be each other's rock, if you will, in those
Right.
moments. So thank you for sharing that,
Absolutely.
for sure. Okay, now let's get into football, because right now he's technically listed as Xavier Howard's and Eli Apple's backup, so like the third string, if you will. Um, Obviously, because he is the injury, him getting back into shape and things like that. Overall, with the way he has been managed, let's put it that way, within the last 2 years,
Hmm.
what would you say? How did that go? And so far up to this point into the season, um, what has been the mindset of, as a mom, seeing it from your kid's eye? Talk to us
Yeah.
about that.
Oh, sure. No problem. Well, like I said, as I just mentioned, I've witnessed his whole journey from the injury to and all the stuff prior to that. I don't know. I didn't mention this too. In at UTEP, I don't know if you knew this. He broke the all-time record for pass breakups. The all-time record at UTEP. So this kid's a baller. Anyway, but I say that to say this. I have watched him perform for all these years and know what he's capable of. I've watched him rehab this last year after his injury, and I know that he is healed. He's ready to go. I am not used to watching him stand on the sideline of any game, any team that he's been on, because from the get-go, even when he was in high school, I had fathers of players come up to me saying, "Oh, we're going to see him on Sundays." And I didn't know what that meant back then. And I was like, "Oh, okay. I'll see you on Sunday. Great." Whatever that meant. But now, I mean, obviously I get it now. But they were telling me that, and they knew, I mean, because he's a very good player. He's a great athlete, but I'm used to seeing him out there playing. And I know how passionate he is about being on the field and playing. And it's not just about the actual physical part about playing, it's about mentally and physically contributing to the team. He is such a team player. Like, he loves his bros on the team. Those are his brothers. He wants to perform with them and for them. So it's a challenge for him, but it's a big challenge for me too, because I'm watching what's going on, and just I've got a big question mark over my head, like, why isn't he playing? But I'm understanding more and more that our defensive coordinator didn't get to see Nick play during OTAs last year or during summer camp because Nick was still injured. So he seems like kind of, I don't know him, but he seems, from my observations, like kind of a old school guy that
Mhm.
will have a level of comfort with people that he can physically see. And he didn't get to see Nick perform during OTAs and summer camp. So, that's kind of where the hierarchy was set as far as the first string, second string, third string. Um, but I would think at this point that he'd want to change some things up a little bit, and um, not just one or two plays a game. Because the other thing to understand is that, and as an athlete, I would be the same way. You stand on the sideline and they put you in there for one play. In your mind, you're thinking, okay, this, I'm only going to get this one play. I better not screw up. I better not screw up. I better not screw up. And then what happens?
You screw up.
You screw up because your level of confidence is so low because you're not playing and you don't get your rhythm going and you're not getting that as the guys are out there. I remember Nick always told me that to this day, he always gets nervous in a football game, like right when they start the game. But as soon as he hits somebody, he just finds somebody to hit, then it's all gone. You just want to hit somebody. And it's like a release of adrenaline and both physically and mentally, where they're like, okay, I'm in this now. And you get that feeling of comfort and confidence being on the field, um, that is necessary to perform well. But if you get put out in one play and you get beat by somebody and then you get pulled out for another 25 minutes, quite honestly, in my opinion, that's a recipe for failure. So I'm not fond of
Mm,
that, but I'm accepting it because it is what it is, and there's so many things that are out of our control. So you just have to accept that. Control the things that you can, and the things that you can't control. Oh well, it is what it is.
it's true. That's so true in life and football. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Goes both ways. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
So
Well, I mean, I'm a firm believer, and I have to remind people, and I say this all the time. It's like the player will develop and get better when they actually get in-game experience, and
yeah,
they will be able to come back with in-game, like unless they're in the game, you can
right.
expect somebody to develop. But they go through practice. I'm like, practice is not the game.
Not
Like,
the
what
same
are you
thing.
talking about?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta go up against a different team. You gotta go up against different players. You
Gotta
know,
be
and
in
that's
it.
how you will get
Yeah.
through all those things. So I totally get it, and I agree with you. Okay, so now that's more him. Not gonna ask you.
Yes.
How upset are you?
All
How
right.
upset are you? Because I know I see it, and I love him, and I'm like, why are we not using him? Like, because for me, especially right now with all the injuries we've had in defense, I'm like, you would think, maybe we might move some players around and actually, I don't know, use him a little bit more. But
You might
how
be.
so just you, not him, like you. How are you feeling about that specifically?
Yeah,
'Cause I know
well,
I'm the same. I'm
I
frustrated.
would
So
I would definitely love to see things change up in the game, especially the way things have been going the last couple of weeks or the last 3 or 4 weeks. I would definitely have switched things up. And the cool thing about Nick too is he's so versatile. He could literally pop into like a linebacker position. He could play, he can play basically any position out there. And he almost has played any position out there in his career. So he's ready for any of that. But specifically with the DBs, I'd love to see him play safety. I'd love to see him rotate out there and hopefully get some of those long balls, picks. That would be fun. Plus, people keep saying that he's slow. I mean, Nick is not slow, and especially on the chases where everybody else has missed that tackle, he can run across the field and catch somebody from the other side of the field. He has that ability, and I've seen it time and time again. I think people forget that. He's been a little slower this last year. He snapped his Achilles in half. That's going to happen.
exactly. Hey, you're gonna have to rehab
Yeah.
and get
Yeah.
game ready. Like, come on.
Yeah, but I don't consider him slow. In fact, he's very fast. But I think even playing safety, I'd love to see that because he loves to hit. At one point, I don't know if you knew this, a couple years ago, I think he was like number 5 on the team in tackles. He loves to hit, and that's kind of unheard of for corners. They generally don't do a lot of the tackling, but he he's not afraid of it, and he can kind of clean up messes that can happen. Tackles can get missed and whatnot, but I'd also love to see him in a position where he can have more opportunities for interceptions. It'd be very cool.
I like that. I
I'd
like
love to
that.
see that. So
Okay.
we'll see what happens.
Okay, now I gotta get your opinion. We're in this new regime.
Yes.
We got Mike McDaniel, we got Vic Fangio. Now, obviously, we still had Boyer last year, from the Flores regime. And then now we have Vic Fangio. But you see how the team is going. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Especially in the last 5 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, it hasn't been the strongest, in my opinion. And I have to remind people, because I get very frustrated. Look, I'm a defensive girl. My favorite player of all time is Jason Taylor. Like, that's my favorite player of
Awesome.
all time. And I will always go defense first, then offense,
Yeah.
because I just like tackling people. But to me, it's like I don't understand why people don't get that. We're a defensive led team.
Right.
And they want to really hone on well, this person missed this and missed that. Yeah, but they also kept the team from scoring. Where
Right.
did the offense, like, when is the offense gonna finally score? Like, it's what's
Yeah. I mean,
we're doing here.
especially
So
especially last weekend. I mean, the Bills came. They were on like the 3 yard line on one of them, and we stopped them. Like, so that's incredible
it's
for
insane.
the defense to be that tough. I agree. So I agree with you.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, because I just don't understand how it's like anybody but the offense we want to go ahead and kind of blame. And it's like, I get it. It's all team win, team loss. You know what I mean?
Right.
The
Sure.
coaches have to put the players in the best position.
Right.
But come on, man,
Exactly.
when you're getting opportunities and opportunities and opportunities, specifically this last game is a divisional, the the AFC East divisional game. You got the defense giving you five opportunities
Right.
and stops.
Right.
Between the two interceptions, the forced fumble, the turnover on down. I mean, they literally could have scored an extra 20 to 24 points,
Yeah.
but our defense was able to stop them.
Right. For sure.
The
That's
offense,
frustrating.
though, didn't capitalize except on one time, for
Right.
7 points. So, if we're feeling this as fans, because we're just watching, how does, you guys as the parents or even the players, like, if we can get a little inside mind, like,
Sure.
how do they see it? Like,
Well, again, there's that level of frustration, which I totally get. I'm watching the whole team play hard, and there's opportunities that are missed, and you're kind of like, ah. But you have to understand, again, I'm kind of an anomaly here as far as a football parent because of that last 2 years of Nick's college, of going 0-12 and 1-11. So,
you know,
um,
you know it
I,
here.
yes, so I'm used to disappointment. I'm used to that. Like I was thrilled that, when Nick signed with the Dolphins and he played that first season in 2019, that we actually won some games. It felt
I
so good.
remember that season.
I didn't know what that felt like to be on a winning team. So um, I'm used to losing games and not letting it affect me like, oh, it's the end of the world, because it's not. What I can say though, now just being very now a lot deeper into the Dolphins, the team and the atmosphere and everything, the organization, and I love this team so much and the organization. I want them to win. And I'm looking at our season right now. What are we, 11-6, 11-5, 11-6? It's an incredible record.
It
Holy
is.
cow. Look at where we are right now. Yeah, we lost. We should have won last weekend, but we lost. So now we got to move on. We got to move on to this weekend. Are we going to win this? Do we have a chance to win this weekend? Absolutely. We're at
Thank
the
you.
end.
That's what I'm talking. You
Yeah,
heard it here first, people.
yes, no,
Yes.
absolutely. And I'll tell you this. I was talking to Jason Sarney this morning about it too. We were chatting, and I said, this is the end of a very long 17-game season. Every single team is tired. These guys, I dropped Nick off at the practice facility. He's tired, and he's not even not tired, but these guys are tired. They put in a long day of practice. They study. They're still working their bodies really hard. And after 17 games, it gets to be a long season, but not just for the Dolphins, for all the teams. So injuries happen when everybody's tired. Um, people mess up when they're tired. The schemes start kind of breaking down when they're tired. And I don't mean tired like they're lazy or anything like that, because these guys will go until the wheels fall off. But
Literally.
um, I just mean it's been a long season. So at this point, a lot of teams are suffering, and they may not advertise it as much as other teams do, but they're going through their depth chart too. So I think Saturday, starting with Saturday's game especially, it's up in the air. And I was in Germany when we played the Chiefs. Um, Fortunately, I got to see that game, and we should have beat them then. And they were
Thank
full army. We should have
thank
beat them then.
you. We
Yeah.
should have beat them then. They are not the same. And I keep
Uh-uh.
reminding people, they're not the same Super
No.
Bowl winning team from last year. Not
Yeah.
at all. Not even close.
Yeah,
They're
we made a
so
couple
different.
mistakes that game that shot ourselves in the foot, but we could have won that game. So I see true opportunities this weekend, and I see a real high possibility of winning this game. And, especially sometimes when you lose a couple of games, it gives you that extra spark of, heat and motivation and kind of like, "Ugh, we got to get back at here." So grit, I guess you could call it. I think we're going to be fine.
That's
And
awesome. Okay. I'll get
yeah,
your predictions later because I
yeah.
definitely want to dive into that a little bit more. But, being that, and I think you made a great point, and I think we forget this too as fans because we're just watching, it is 17 weeks, you know what I mean? It is
Right,
grueling times, it's one of the most physical games in the
right,
world, so it's
right,
not like you're sitting there. I don't know, pick whatever. Anything that's not as physical as football and
right.
you know what I mean. So with that, what kind of mentality or what routine do they go through, to kind of like psych themselves out and still be able to perform and still be able to go out there and play?
Well, I'll tell you, I have the utmost respect for every young man that has made it to the NFL. I have respect for even the ones that didn't, that tried their hardest to make it there. But the ones that did make it, these guys are unique kind of freaks, Nick included. They went above and beyond the percentages and the odds to make it into the league. And these guys are all superior elite athletes, both physically and mentally. So that's part of how they're built, to pull themselves up, to get back in it, to now, what makes that more difficult to do? I'm going to get back to what I was talking about before. Is social media. If these guys
Follow
would
me.
stay, I wish all the players were forbidden from going on social media, because I think that there's so much toxicity with social media, both in the football world and in life, that it can affect you. I mean, look at the suicide rate of our teens these years, with all the depression that's happening, with all the, and this can happen to professional athletes too, just from people calling them trash, and from, them just pounding over and over and over again, saying that this, get rid of him, or this, it's really difficult. So I wish social media didn't exist, because that's a one element that can really have an effect on these guys who are just superior elite human beings as far as their sport. They made it this far. Each one of them deserves to be out there. I've always told Nick and his friends that you guys deserve to be out there. Just remember that as you're walking on the field. You deserve to be out here today. Each one of you.
You're inspiring me so much. I want to be out
Get out
walking
there,
out
girl.
there.
Get out
Like, yeah,
there.
let's
Suit up.
go.
Yeah,
Because
suit
this is year
up.
two of doing the show as Miss Phins, obviously, and I've been able to go and actually see him in the preseason and training camp and stuff. So it's really cool that we get access to them, and kind of
Yeah,
take pictures and things like
yeah.
that. So, before we get, well, I guess I'll leave that one for last because I don't know. Let me see. How do I want to do this? You know what? Let's talk more. Let's go back into the player and how you guys are because you guys have this very beautiful. I want to end on the game. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I want to talk to you guys because I don't know if you guys know this, but Nik Needham and his mom do have their charity. It's called For the Fam. and you can check them out .org. Sorry, and they're an awesome organization, ladies and gentlemen. And you're able to go ahead. It's nonprofit, dedicated to supporting and empowering our community through various programs and initiatives. Their mission is to make a positive impact and create a better future for all. So, talk to us about that.
Sure.
How did that come into fruition, and how did that, you know, and what it is that you guys do so that we can support.
Well, first of all, I loved how you pronounced the for the fam because like it's kind of like for the family. But
Hmm.
actually we came up with that name 4D, like four dimensional. 4D fam stands for four dimensional family. Um, I'm a Christian and I believe in the Bible, and the Bible references several times about God's four dimensional love for his children, and family, of course, family is everything for us. So that's where we came up with the name. But the reason that we started the foundation is it actually happened after we had our tough year last year. Nik going through what he went through, and then me going through the rehab program. And as part of my rehab, I got really involved in like the AA program and working with some other programs. I to this day still participate, and I'm on panels, and I talk to people that are in rehab centers and whatnot. But through that journey, I met a lot of people that were doing some really fantastic things in the community, specifically with our youth, the teens at the high schools. And I was going and visiting with some other people, the high schools, and talking to health classes about the dangers of drugs and alcohol. And um, Nik had a little bout with never an addiction problem, but he had a little issue with weed back in the day in high school, and that's why we moved him out of that area because San Clemente is just like it's a little surfer pothead town. Like everybody smokes weed there. It's just like I don't know how anybody gets anything accomplished there, but it is what it is. But um, so he's got a little background in that, but what we ended up doing, we got invited to come and speak. I did, and then they said, "Do you think Nik would want to come and tell his story to these teens?" And that's how it kind of started, where he talked about his journey to the NFL, but also his journey through high school and college, where he got bullied in middle school and high school, like severely bullied. It was horrible, bullied and kind of tried to fit in with the wrong crowds, which ended up him being in the wrong crowds. And so he talks to the kids about that, but he talks to them mostly about setting goals and never giving up on your dream. And I talk about the fact that if I had $1 for every time some parent came up to me and said, "You know what your chances of your son of making it to the NFL are, right? He wants to go to the NFL, but you know what his chances are, right?" And I'm just like, well, why would I ever squash that? Like, yeah, I know what his chances are, but he wants it. So he has a great story to tell. I tell them of my story of recovery and my journey with him, raising him as a single mom, and our football journey. And so it just kind of developed that way. And our goal is to continue going and talking to high school kids about all of that, because these high school kids, they look at him, and Nik is a really shy guy for the most part. Um, and quiet, but when he starts talking about his story, he's so passionate about it. He can't help but just ugh, it all comes out. And he's very raw with them, and the questions and answers that they we do a little session at the end. The kids ask the most amazing questions, and he's really honest with his answers, and you can tell. So the coaching staff is always there, the faculty and the principal, and they're just like, "Oh my God, please come back to our school and talk to them again." The kids
That's
loved it,
awesome.
and yeah, so it's worked out well. And in addition to that, we have a little side ministry. We like to feed the homeless in our community. So I have a golf cart back in San Clemente, and I always load it up and cruise around town. And my sister and I, and when Nik is back home, we go out and we feed the homeless, and it's a really um, it's a really special thing that we love doing.
That's awesome.
That's
I mean, and I can tell based on, everything that you said that I'm sure, like me, being raised on, giving back to others and being very generous and really supporting others. I can tell based on what you know, sharing that story with us, that that's something that's very important for him,
yeah,
and that's always a good thing because I am a personal believer that if they have a strong foundation in that, they end up being not just great athletes, but great human beings, period.
right,
And
right,
as a parent, that's all you want for your kids is
hundred
just
percent,
to be good human beings and to obviously achieve their dreams. So that's
absolutely.
awesome. And
Thank
ladies
you.
and gentlemen, of course, I'm gonna be dropping the link too if you want to go ahead and support again, just so you guys can see it. It is 4dfam.org. I'm gonna be putting the link and pinning it on the show. So feel free to go ahead and support them. I know that they do the Dolphins Cancer Challenge. So go ahead and
Yes,
check them out. Let's support Nik Needham and his mom here because it's great when we give back to the communities, and that's what you want at the end of the day, to support each other. And it's great to have that opportunity here. So thank you for that. I really wanted
sure.
to. That's one of the main things I was like, I have to have it here,
Yay.
so
I
you
appreciate
guys
it.
can talk about it, of course.
Thank you.
Okay, so now that we got through that, obviously his impact in the community here, we gotta talk football.
Yeah.
I was like, it's football over feelings. So
Yes.
let's go talk about football.
Sure.
This is the Kansas City Chief, and I know we kind of touched on it in a few minutes ago. But with the Chiefs, being that we both agree, we beat ourselves. They didn't beat us.
Right.
You know what? What do you expect from this offense? What do you expect from the defense? What do you expect from the coaching? Obviously, Vic Fangio and Mike McDaniel overall, because this is so not the Super Bowl, you know, championship level team so far this year. What
Right.
are your expectations so far, and what do you think that's gonna be
Well,
for
I
this
really
upcoming year?
think after, especially after last weekend, which we should have won that game too. I really think that we're going to come out strong this weekend. I know I say that often about other games, but I really do this weekend. I know one of the leaders in the defense truly is Jalen Ramsey, and I can't go into detail because I hear a lot of the inside conversations and whatnot. But I can tell you this: that he's a leader, and he is really rallying these guys together to finish strong. He wants to finish strong. He's had a Super Bowl. He wants this Super Bowl with this team. So he's rallying the guys up. I know on defense. I don't know much about the offense because I don't Nick they don't segregate from each other, but they just, they're in so many meetings together with defense that they those are their bros. I mean, the whole team are their bros, but those are their real like tight bros. So I can tell you that Jalen Ramsey is definitely pulling the guys together with their group chats. They have a group chat that they're always on, and he keeps them straight, keeps them looking forward, and they I think that's going to keep their heads strong for this weekend, especially because we're so close finishing the season and then coming into the playoffs. The fact that we're in the playoffs, that's all we need is a chance. I look at Nick,
Exactly.
that's all Nick needed was a chance. He was on practice squad. All he needed was a chance. He got elevated, I think, after game 4 his rookie year. All he needed was that chance.
October
Yes.
2019. Yep.
Yep. All he needed was a chance. And I look at this team, and that's all we need is the chance. And well, we've been given that chance this weekend. So we're in the playoffs. It's our first game. We're playing a team that we know we can beat, and especially at the end of the season, and especially since Taylor Swift has completely damaged that team. I can't stand
Oh
her.
my goodness, and I'm a Swiftie. Okay, I'm
I'm
on record as saying
sorry. I'm
I am
definitely not a
so
Swiftie, but oh my God. But that's on them. They're letting that seep through. But I think that that's a big
exactly.
distraction. But no, I think we have a really, really, really good chance. this weekend. That's my prediction is we're going to win. We're going to win this weekend. And that's the only game that I'm concentrating on. I'm not calculating if we win this and if who wins that. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just focused, and I know the boys are focused on this game. That's it. Let's play this game. Let's win this game, and then after this game,
Oh,
we go to the next one. That's all you do. Because if you start speculating about all these other ifs and what's so that we need all the positive energy going towards just this game. Let's start here, just with this game. One day,
oh my
like my AA brothers and sisters, one day at a time, one game at a time. Let's just one game at a time.
dum 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 dum
Dun, dun,
dum dum dum
dun.
dum dum.
That's right. You did
You
it.
know,
That's right. You did
exactly.
it.
Yes, that's what I'm
Yes.
talking about. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh man,
Yeah.
and I'm right there with you. You know what I mean? And it is one game at a time. But I mean, obviously, as fans, we're like, oh my god, but this combination of this, so we'll
Yeah.
go crazy.
Fun
But
to
that's for
do.
us, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm
Right.
glad that they're focused. I
Yeah.
love what you said about the leadership from Ramsey,
Yeah.
from Phillips to really kind of keep the
Yes.
guys together
Yeah.
because there are so many distractions,
Yeah.
uh, and it's great
Hard
that they're
knocks.
able to.
I'm sorry, I have a cough. That's okay. I love watching that show. I think it's awesome, but I
Oh
do
my
find it
god.
I can't help but think that it has to be a little distracting. So,
You're
anyway.
getting it raw today, people. You're getting the real deal
Yeah.
backstage pass right now with Ms. Needham over here. Man, that's so funny. That you or no. So okay, that's great. But I'm glad that they're keeping it together and they're still,
Oh, yeah.
they're still able to stay focused because to your
Yes.
point, we don't have anything else besides this game. We're not
Right.
guaranteed the next game. We
This
gotta
is
go one game at a time.
right.
So that's
Yeah.
that's exciting.
We're going to be okay. The only thing that they won't have are chocolate chip cookies because I'm not traveling. This is the only game that I'm missing besides MetLife. I missed MetLife because it was my birthday weekend, but I went to all the other games, and it's always been a tradition for me to make cookies for Nick and his teams ever since he was like in Pop Warner through high school, through college. And then I said, why stop now? So I've been doing it, making cookies for the team for their meetings the night before the game, so that they can have homemade chocolate chip cookies.
Oh my god! I wish I
Yeah,
had some of those homemade chocolate cookies.
yeah,
I hear they're great.
yeah. I'll hook you up next time. Yeah,
Yes, awesome. Well, you know what? I got a couple questions here. I got a couple more questions here, and
sure.
then kind of close this out for you. But as far as the team, because I know this has to be in like everybody's mind. I know he wants to be here. He loves being here. What's looking into his future? What is he? I'm sure. I mean, hey, it's also a business. You know what I mean? He wants to play.
Hmm.
He's a competitor.
Right,
And I mean, I want him here. I think he's perfect here, and I
right.
think that he's going to be able to continue to grow and make an impact in this team, obviously.
Sure.
So, with that being said, where I know right now next year he's technically an unrestricted free
Right.
agent. So what are you guys thinking? What what it what's going on in that mindset? It's a reality of the sport or any
Oh,
sport.
sure. I think the easiest answer I can give you without giving too much
Hmm.
confidential information is Nick wants to play. Nick wants to be on the field.
Good, I
So,
like that.
whether it's with this team or another team, Nick wants to be on the field. The lifespan, I guess you call it, of a NFL player is not very long, and some
Not
positions
for
are,
long.
yeah, some positions are shorter than others. So for the amount of work that these guys and work and sacrifice that these guys have put through their entire life to get to where they are, they don't want to stand on the sideline watching. they want to be out there playing. So if he's not going to be playing with this team, he'll be playing with another team, and we're confident of that. So we're not forward thinking too much, and we're just going to see what happens. And as I mentioned before, you control the things that you can control, and everything else you just kind of let it. It is what it is. So if the Dolphins decide that they want to keep him, fantastic. We love the organization. We love the team. I love the fan base. But if that doesn't happen, there are definitely some other teams, fortunately, that have been watching him over his career, both college and football or in NFL. So we're not worried about that.
I mean, he's had a pretty good career so far. You know,
Yeah,
being in the NFL. I mean, he's got almost 200 tackles so far right now. He's got a defensive touchdown, 6 interceptions so far in his career.
right.
So, and then as you mentioned in high school, how he was in college, how he broke the
Broke the
record
record.
for pass deflections. He already has 25 in his career. You know, since he's been here
Yeah,
and with the team. So he's got production, and I think he's to me one of those integral positions that we need, especially for defense. It's
yeah,
his versatility.
yeah,
I love him in the slot, but if he has to go outside, I love that he's still able to produce.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that's what you want out of your 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 key players that may not be as flashy with the big names are the ones doing that grunt work, like what AVG was doing. You know,
Right, right,
AVG was doing the grunt work and only really got more exposure once people were dropping like flies,
right,
unfortunately.
right.
So
Got to have that depth. We've got to have depth for
exactly,
sure.
exactly. So I that's one thing that I love, and then the whole time I'm like, why do we not use Nick? Come on,
Yeah,
like, but you know what? To your point, you can only control what you can control, and the hunger's got to be there, and I can see it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? You can see it in him and his passion and love for the team and his bros, like you say. So
yep,
hopefully his future continues to be here because to me he is one of the key pieces that is going to help us in the future to get that Super Bowl, which is
right.
what we want. So
Yeah.
um thank you for that. And what inspired what was his favorite player growing up? Like what was
His favorite player was Darrell Revis. Revis,
I mean,
that's his guy. But yeah, now he doesn't really have a favorite player because he's got so many friends that are in the league. In fact, just a little sidebar, his best friend from that he graduated high school with at Buena Park High School, he was playing for the last 3 years with the Falcons. And these two are best friends. Like they talk every night. They're on the phone every night for like an hour. But he just got traded last month or month and a half to the Chargers. So he's back home.
wow.
And they both know all the guys on the Chargers. So
Yeah,
I'm
because I
not,
mean that's
I'm not saying anything else. Bloop. But
ladies and
yeah,
gentlemen, you're not getting any information from us
no.
today.
It's that damn cough.
I
No,
know.
but
It's just,
yeah. But it would
you
be kind of
know.
cool. It would be kind of cool to have Nick on the West Coast because this traveling thing has gotten. I mean, I can't do this forever. I'm too old. But yeah, I we'll see what happens. But yeah, he does have a lot of friends in the league, so he's not like I don't think he's really starstruck. He was starstruck. He got a little starstruck when Dan Marino gave him a little pep talk last year after he tore his Achilles. Even though he sees Dan every day at the facility, he said it was still like such an honor for him to receive that type of encouragement and pat on the back and attaboy stuff from Dan Marino. He's like,
I know. It's
freaking Dan
like
Marino.
one of the top five all time, no matter what, most
Right.
recognizable players
Yeah,
across any sport.
exactly. Exactly. So that's cool.
That's
But
awesome, man.
yeah,
Listen,
it's all
I,
good.
I'll tell you this. I I know his type of play. I've seen it. He's one of my, like I told you, one of my favorite players to watch on the field.
Oh,
And I think that with his career, to your point, it's not for long. That's the
right.
whole joke
NFL.
with
Yeah.
them, exactly with the NFL. But he's been able to gain his little contracts and been able to
Yeah.
still be in here for somebody that went undrafted.
Yeah.
to still be in the league. That doesn't happen all the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
To
Right.
have 4, 5, 6 years, plus to be able to still be here and still produce at the level that he has. That's one thing that I know for me personally, as a fan, I love those stories.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the first rounders and second rounders or
Right.
whatever, but it's those guys that necessarily don't get drafted
Right.
those days, but they're
Yeah.
still in there. They're
Yeah.
still
Some of those
working.
first rounders don't even make it. So let's just say
I
that.
mean,
Some of those first rounders are not playing anymore. So anyway, but I get it, and I agree with you for sure. He's
I
got a good
love that.
story.
Okay, so as a fan base, you've seen the riff. It's like, oh my gosh, like we love this, and then we can't stand it when we lose, and blah blah blah. So we need a motivational speech, ma'am.
Okay.
So give us a motivational speech
Okay.
so that we can go into this game.
I'm gonna pretend I'm in the locker room now.
There you go. There you
You
go.
guys are
Let's
all sitting
go.
there. So here we go. Okay, first of all, I'm just going to start off by just saying everybody needs to calm the F down. And I mean that. Calm the F down. Let's start with that. So let's all get at the even calm level. There you go. And once we get past that, I just want to say let's just take one game at a time. We got this. We can't all be fighting and bickering on the sidelines and in the stands. These players can hear it, they can feel it. There's an energy. I believe in energy things, and we got to put out positive vibes out there. So like even if you have to fake it, you know what? If you have to fake it for the next, what are we at, 72, 48 hours, whatever, till the game,
Yeah.
fake. I'm asking everybody to fake it and just be positive. Put a smile on your face. Cheer for this team. All of these young men deserve to be out there. All of these coaches deserve to be out there. They've worked their asses off to get here for your viewing pleasure and for your entertainment. Let's have some respect and let's have some really, really real support for these guys because they deserve it. I love this team. I love the players. I love the coaches. I want to see them win. Let's go to the Super Bowl, but let's go one game at a time. That's it.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Brr, 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 brr. You heard it here, people. Let's
Yes.
go. Man, I want to run through a table right now or
All
something.
right.
Like, this is awesome.
Yes. Come on.
Let's do it. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the
Yes.
one, the only.
Yes.
Man, Miss Needham over
Thank
here,
you.
Nik Needham's mom. You have raised a great young man, a
Thank you.
phenomenal football player, and honestly, I've had such a blast having this conversation here. I
Absolutely
know you got
fun.
so much going on today. Specifically, I know when we talked offline, but I definitely wanted to go ahead and just give the people kind of an insider's look.
Sure.
Funny enough, because Hard Knocks, they get some insight, but it's different when you're getting it firsthand, from a parent because you guys are here with your,
Yeah.
with your kids. So I'm
Yeah.
telling you right now, you have been phenomenal. Look at this. Now they're requesting you. Now they're requesting you every week, so we
Oh,
both have it.
I'll come on anytime. If I
I
have my
love it.
voice, I know even from California, I'm flying home tomorrow, so I'll be watching it with my family in California. But I scream loud. So if I have any voice left after this weekend, I'll come on anytime you'd like me to.
That's awesome. But ladies and gentlemen, again, I want to go back to it. I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go to forthefam.org. Let's support Nik Needham and Shannon Needham's website. They're really doing something special for the community, and we want to be able to support them. So let's go ahead and support them. I have the link pinned at the top, so go ahead and check them out, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I don't know what else to say except thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you so much
Oh
for
my God,
coming
thank
through.
you.
Yeah, I know the fans really enjoyed it and you have been phenomenal. I will reach back out to you because, I still need to get the extra
You
stuff
get the
on the
yeah,
screen.
you got it. I'm an open book, just not on here.
uh, I mean, I don't
Okay.
know what you're talking about, but thank you. Thank you
All
so much,
right.
guys.
God bless
Say
you guys.
goodbye.
Fins up. Take care.
Fins up.
Bye bye.
You have it, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. I mean, you have one of our literal playoff, playoff bound players, mom. I mean, you literally got inside of the inside of the inside. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, I'm just so this was so awesome, man. She was so amazing. Again, shout out to Ms. Needham over here, man. I'm telling you, speaking the truth to all of us and her son being so amazing. Like, it absolutely has been such a pleasure, guys. I don't even know, to be honest with you, what else you could say. You could talk about accolades, you could talk about that, but I love that we spoke football. You know what I mean? It's not about feelings, it's about football. Let's talk football. And we spoke football, ladies and gentlemen. We spoke about the community, what we're able to do. And let me tell you something, this is what you want to hear. I there were some key pointers, specifically the mentality of the players. You know what I mean? Obviously, they more huddled together like the defense, but guys, you just heard it firsthand. Ramsey stepping up, Phillips stepping up, keeping the boys together. You know what I mean? Like, this was, I don't know about you guys, but this just absolutely renewed me as a fan, because trust me, we can get up and down and you hear it. And you know what? I'm gonna have to go back into my center and do what we always did, which is be be kind to each other. You know what I mean? We can be frustrated, but be kind. And man, it was such a blessing to have her up here and to really go over, um just having the opportunity to speak with somebody that's in the locker room, pretty much. You know what I mean? I saw a few of you guys that had laid some questions, and I try to get them answered as much as possible. Obviously, with the flow of the show and things like that. But I'll tell you this was pretty fun. I'm gonna take a couple minutes, guys. I want to hear from you guys. um, I'm gonna bring you guys up here. I want to see what you guys thought, because I thought this was pretty good. I only have a few minutes, literally. So if you guys have a couple minutes and you want to talk about it, let's go. If not, ladies and gentlemen, this I need. I mean, I don't know what else to say except this is so cool. I need you guys to hit that like button. That's what I need. I need you guys to hit that like button, because it was such a great show. And to be honest with you, I mean, what more do you want? You know what I mean? You got it right then and there. The team is focused, the team is ready, and they're making it happen. So it was a phenomenal interview, in my opinion. And again, we're working on more stuff, guys. I already got a lineup on a couple other people, but it's just one day at a time, and we're gonna continue to bring great content for you guys. So I appreciate you guys so much. This is this is why us fans need to support our players. They see us, even if they're their family. When we ride with the team, the players can feel it. They really can, man. They really can. So thank you, everybody, for coming through. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take it, because this was such a great show. I'm just gonna leave it here, guys. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button for me. Let everybody else know that we're live. Um, Man, it's phenomenal content. Also, too, guys, if you can do me a favor, let's support those who do support the channel, like Chef Jew and Chef Jew's Catering. So if you have and you want and you are looking for a great chef to cater your next birthday, business, or office party, etc., with mouthwatering cookies, cakes, pies, and more, then go ahead and check out and reach out to Chef Jew at Chef Jew um, Catering. That's Chef Jew, Ju Catering, or at 786-804-8096. That's 786-804-8096. Via Facebook Messenger or Instagram is at Chef Jew, Ju Catering, for more information. And mention Miss Phins to get 10% off your catering order. Ladies and gentlemen, again, this was Miss Phins bringing you the locker room, essentially. And I'm so grateful that we were able to do this. I appreciate all of you guys for coming through. Again, tomorrow we got the game preview. We will be previewing this game. Ooh, coming up, wild card weekend, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, we're about to get to the divisional round yet. Let's go get this W, guys. Thank you so much for coming through again. This is Miss Phins. Appreciate all of you guys and all of our members. Take care and bye-bye.